In the headlines, the Ministry of Health unveils a national plan of action for the coronavirus and says Dominican students in China are safe. The Dominica Manufacturers Association to boost sustainable jobs and export by increasing production this year. And researchers optimistic the Blackcapped Petrel can still be found in Dominica. I'm Andrea Louis with the Channel 5 News, back with the details after this.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts, with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better. A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited Flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD. All for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
Thank you for staying with us. First up, the Ministry of Health says so far all Dominican students studying in China are safe.
Health and Wellness Minister Irving McIntyre held a joint news conference Wednesday with the Ministers for Education and Tourism. The focus of that news conference was the well-being of Dominicans, including students in China, and Dominica's preparedness in light of the deadly coronavirus currently spreading around the world. The Ministry of Health is recommending that students currently studying in China remain there, as this is the safest option at the moment.
The potential risk of the 2019 novel coronavirus spread in Dominica exists because we are aware that there are Dominican students currently studying in Wuhan City as well as in other areas of China. These students are likely to visit home during the carnival season or return to Dominica within the incubation period. There is also a high presence of Chinese immigrant workers who travel back and forth from Dominica to China. However, the ministry is in contact with the international community, that is the WHO, PAHO, CAFA, CDC, etc., to keep abreast of the situation. Based on the WHO's risk calculation, the risk is at medium to low for the Caribbean region. Further, a national pandemic influenza plan exists, and the necessary adjustments will be made as new information emerges. Also, students who are studying in China will be advised to remain in China, which is considered to be the safest option at present. There are actually 84 students studying in China, 15 in Wuhan City, and 3 out of China on vacation as we speak. The Ministry of Education has been in touch with Dominican nationals, especially the students in the coronavirus-affected province of Wuhan, on a daily basis. Today, 29th, 2020, each student presently in Wuhan was sent additional funds to assist. It's just a precautionary, to assist in the purchase of water and other essentials. Since the outbreak of the coronavirus, everyone have been advised to wear face masks. As a result, there has been a shortage of face masks.
The health minister says all nationals are safe, and because the virus has a 14-day incubation period, it's not advisable for anyone to leave Wuhan City at the moment. The minister says in the circumstances, it would be challenging and costly for any Dominican to leave China now to head back to Dominica.
There must be a receiving country, the USA, France, Germany, London, Holland, to put the students through quarantine. Secondly, a special charter with the nationals departing China under international travel guidelines for prevention and control. And thirdly, assuming they are nationals who may test positive, that receiving country must have the infrastructure in place to deal with the cure or treatment of the virus. Our students in Wuhan are in good spirits and fully understand the risk involved in living. They have been extremely vigilant. In cases of emergency, there are hotline numbers that have been made available to them. The Embassy of Grenada and Dominica will collaborate and coordinate efforts in getting essential supplies to our nationals. All Dominican nationals in People's Republic of China are safe to date. There is no need to panic. The government of the People's Republic of China has given every assurance that this pandemic will be brought under control within a few weeks.
Government is contemplating sending additional masks to Dominicans in Wuhan, China, as face masks must be changed frequently.
In related news, government has outlined details of a national health plan of action to help protect Dominicans from the impact of the coronavirus now affecting people in a number of countries besides China. The virus has also been detected in Thailand, Vietnam, Singapore, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, Nepal, France, and the United States. The health minister spoke to that national plan at Wednesday's news conference.
Number one is the surveillance aspect. An initial alert was sent to healthcare professionals, that is the hospital and the district staff, on January 10th, prior to the human-to-human transmission occurrence. So it gives you an idea that the Ministry of Health has been on top of this game for a while now, and it started since on the 10th of January, since we started monitoring these cases. Ongoing training to provide updated and standard case definitions to all relevant stakeholders, the development and dissemination of reporting tools to healthcare providers during the preparation phase, development of a database using EpiInfo, the conduct of active surveillance at the health facilities and various points of entry, reactivate event-based surveillance and monitor signals for potential imported cases of the novel 2019 coronavirus, advise students currently in China to remain. However, if they do travel, they will be subjected to quarantine for a period of 2 weeks. That would be home quarantine for a period of 2 weeks. The Ministry of Agriculture to combine liaison with international bodies onto the update staff regularity. Develop and finalize tools for documenting and reporting by Friday, January 31st. Develop electronic database for storage of information by Friday, February 7th. Monitor this situation outside of Dominica, that is the 2019 novel coronavirus, through PAHO, WHO, CAFA, and the Center for Disease Control in Atlanta. Around the clock and keep our relevant stakeholders posted. Conduct active surveillance at the health facilities and at the ports of entry. Call focal persons periodically, that is twice a week, and to review pandemic influenza plan further in the coming days. So all of this comes under the first aspect, which is surveillance.
Focus is also being placed on the points of entry.
All district medical officers alerted of the situation. Secondly, ambulance and immigration officers alerted through the International Health Regulations Steering Committee, meeting tentatively scheduled for January 30th, which will be tomorrow. Implementation of routine measures, such as placement of trained staff at the various ports of entry, district personnel along with port health officer to visit these areas for identification of possible isolation rooms on January 20th. That was done yesterday. Ensuring appropriate space and stockpile of adequate equipment for assessing and managing ill travelers detected on arrival at our ports of entry. Safe means of transportation of symptomatic travelers to designated facility, a functional public health emergency contingency plan in place at the points of entry, a listing of incoming travelers to be provided by immigration from the Advanced Passenger Information System. Now, this is important because you must take note that before anyone were to get to our point of entry, through technology, we actually know where they're coming from. So if they're coming from China, we have that in advance, so we can be actually waiting for these people. And if any symptoms, we take the necessary action. And that is where the immigration department is all part of the integrated approach in handling such a coronavirus.
Risk communication is another aspect of the overall action plan.
The goal of risk communication is to ensure a timely and efficient flow of accurate and consistent information during all phases of an emergency or risk. It facilitates communication among local agencies and our community, regional and international partners about public health threats and recommended healthcare measures. Presently, we are in phase 1.1. That is according to the National Pandemic Influenza Plan, the preparation and prevention phase. The objectives of that phase is to sensitize, inform, educate, and prepare targeted audiences reference to the risk of the emergency, to strengthen the practices of targeted audiences to mitigate the effect of the risk, example, to prevent the spread of the novel 2019 coronavirus or other flu diseases, especially for those at risk. To enhance communication, the media is utilized to improve mechanisms for communication, surveillance, monitoring, and evaluation. The first part of this is information dissemination and media relations.
The plan also includes retraining medical staff on severe acute respiratory illness. In other top stories, researchers remain optimistic of finding the Blackcapped Petrel in Dominica. Julian Morris tells us more.
The Blackcapped Petrel, commonly known as the Diablotin bird, after which two mountains in Dominica were named, was considered extinct as they had not been found on island for several years. Recent sightings of the bird prompted organizations to lead expeditions in search of the Blackcapped Petrel. Jennifer Wheeler, a researcher with Birds Caribbean, an organization which works towards conserving birds in the region, is on island as part of an expedition to survey the Blackcapped Petrel.
Our research consists of going out in the night to use marine radar to find birds flying by. These birds that we are looking for are very secretive. They only come to land in the cover of night, and they then crash into the trees, fall down to the ground, and crawl underground. So they're very difficult to find. It's very difficult to know how many there are. But one of my colleagues came up with a technique to use radar to follow the blips, and if the blips are moving fast enough, you know it's a bird coming by.
Though the birds are difficult to find on land, evidence is strong that the Blackcapped Petrels are nesting in Dominica.
The radar evidence is very strong. Again, this is the only creature that would be flying by at a speed of 50 kilometers an hour in the night. And also, 5 years ago, when this expedition was first conducted, the individuals who not only saw them on radar were able to see them with night vision scopes and actually hear them as well. So we consider that evidence that this bird is still here. We've already conducted at least one radar survey where there's birds present and recorded. We weren't able to see them, even though we spent hours looking into the darkness. But again, the team will be here for another week and a half, and we'll be finding some more. So the holy grail would be to find one of their burrows. This is the hole that they go into to lay an egg and raise a chick, and that would be fantastic.
The Birds Caribbean researcher says finding the burrow of a Blackcapped Petrel would have a positive impact on the country.
I think already Dominica can take pride that this bird that has disappeared from most other places it occurred before humans came and pretty much overran the islands. It can be proud that it's still here. Dominica has maintained its petrels, and so that's a point of pride. And then I think it's just another, I guess, reason to consider that these areas should remain protected, and it I think might bring in a little more tourism, because this is a bird that people that are keen to see rare birds would love to see.
You are watching the Channel 5 News. Stay tuned for more after the break.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts, with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better. A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited Flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD, all for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
Welcome back. The Dominica Manufacturers Association has vowed to step up production in 2020 for sustainable employment and export. The comment from President of the Dominica Manufacturers Association, Severin Mackenzie, during a consultation on Wednesday. The consultation was geared at charting the way forward for manufacturers in 2020.
We want to be laser focused on production. How can we produce goods that are of an acceptable standard, affordable cost, consistent supply, and competitive with the imported products to our Dominican consumers in the first instance and for the export market. The DMA is well aware of the trade gap the Commonwealth of Dominica experiences, where our imports far exceeds our exports by a ratio of more than 10 to 1. And the only way to reverse that trend is through import substitution, where we produce goods and services to replace some of the imported products, or by exporting our goods and services.
The DMA executive has promised to take up the challenge of ensuring greater production and distribution of Dominican products.
The DMA has taken a conscious decision to take up the challenge because the survival of our enterprises and our investments depend on what we may refer to as necessary affirmative action. The Executive Committee of the Dominica Manufacturers Association comprises of individuals who are directly involved in manufacturing. We are manufacturers on the front line.
The consultation saw the presence of a wide cross-section of stakeholders, and Mackenzie believes essential collaborations and linkages are key in moving the manufacturing industry forward.
We can safely say that the manufacturing sector was responsible for close to 1,000 jobs, and this has the potential of increasing fivefold if adequate attention is given to the plight of the manufacturing sector. While we seek collaboration with the public sector and other stakeholders, it is important for the manufacturers to realize that if we do not collaborate among ourselves, all our efforts will be futile, and the manufacturing will remain in the state of stagnation.
And a change in date for the 22nd edition of the World Creole Music Festival. The festival, which is normally hosted on the final weekend in October, will this year be held 1 week earlier and span the weekend of 23rd to 25th October as opposed to 30th October to 1st November. Festival and Events Manager of the Dominica Festivals Committee, Marva Williams, says the change in date is to allow for better preparations for Dominica's independence anniversary.
First of all, the World Creole Music Festival is part of the Independence Calendar celebrations, which starts from the end of September. One of the most important parts of the Independence celebration is Dominica's birthday, which is November 3rd. From a logistical standpoint, there would not be sufficient time if we had left the 30th, 31st, and 1st of November for the World Creole Music Festival to prepare for November 3rd. We do not think November 3rd is something to be rushed. We do not think November 3rd is something to be ignored or put aside. I think it is an important part of the independence calendar, and a tough decision had to be made as it relates to Dominica's birthday. So that was one of the main reasons behind us having the festival pushed back a weekend before.
Williams does not foresee the adjustment in date affecting the number of visitors who come down for the WCMF.
I do not believe that the change of date is going to impact the numbers who come. And why do I say that? I mean, if we love the World Creole Music Festival, then you will come for the World Creole Music Festival. What we did from an organizational perspective is we made various recommendations and questions were asked. We had to look into logistics, into the whole independence calendar, and I mean, the decision was made from government level, and our aim was just to put the information out there early enough, because we had numbers of people who were on standby just waiting for that little teaser so they could book their flights. So at least we tried to do it as early as possible so it doesn't affect the process.
To end the news, the headlines again. The Ministry of Health unveils a national plan of action for the coronavirus and says Dominican students in China are safe. The Dominica Manufacturers Association to boost sustainable jobs and exports by increasing production this year. And researchers optimistic the Blackcapped Petrel can still be found in Dominica. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Andrea Louis, and to all of our viewers around the world, thank you so much for watching. Join us tomorrow.